And now onto something completely disappointing.
I'm Dan Carlson, one quarter of the Lost Blokes.
Yeah, I'm John Kadolf. We are actually this is just an Easter egg for future developments that we are again going to be changing our name because we have expanded.
Yes.
And in our expansion, we have chosen to be inclusive and
Yes.
not limit ourselves by number. So I am John Kadolf. I am 0.25 of the Lost Blokes, and I just limited myself by number.
Hi, my name is Dave Nesbitt, and I am also a lost bloke. I think that makes me 0.21% because, tired and what's math and things and sugar, and I am currently drinking a Sprecher root beer because I have to be able to work later.
The other 0.04 is beer and root beer.
Yep. I'm excited I like the name, and plus I'm excited for the fact that we don't have a number in the title, so we don't have to keep.
After this, we'll stay with the same name for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
I mean, the Us Three Blokes thing with 4 members is a fun little joke, but I never want anyone to feel like they're not included in the title. So
yeah,
it's good to.
And the other good thing is that this is somewhat horror oriented, which our channel typically is.
Yes.
Yay!
The other bloke we don't know is if they're turning up or not, but if they do, we will, welcome them with open arms.
This week's episode, we are reviewing upon Dan's pick, a movie by
Jack
Shoulder,
director of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's
Revenge. Yes.
Yay.
Oh, okay. I thought you were referring to my right side. I've got a jacked right shoulder. But anyway, yes, The Hidden, which Dan picked.
I did.
So take it away, Dan.
So the thing about this movie is that it can be summed up in one sentence. It starts in a bank, where we're looking at security footage. It's a Wells Fargo bank, and
that's where I bank.
Yeah,
I like the monster things. It's a giant mouth. It's a giant mouth turd.
Okay, so it starts at a Wells Fargo bank. We're looking at security footage as a guy in a trench coat comes in with a big rifle and starts blowing people away. He goes outside, gets in his car, runs away from the police, not even really trying to hide who he is or what he did, just being really brazen about it and crashing into everything that gets in his way. A huge police blockade is waiting for him, probably about 10, 12 cars. They all shoot him so many times that he has more holes than not.
More holes than most people
at that point.
Yes. Ends up in the hospital, and one of the cops, one of the doctors says, I don't know what this man's done, but he doesn't deserve to die. And then the cop says he shot like 17 people, wounded 23 more, stole 6 cars, most of them Ferraris. He seems more interested in the fact that the guy stole Ferraris, and that's what he should pay for. But anyway.
And he has to have wrecking Ferraris like they're free. What the fuck is wrong with you?
And he has to constantly have metal playing. Like has to have metal playing constantly.
Not just any metal, but the heaviest of 80s metal, at that time. I can't remember the bands that are all in there. I know Concrete Blonde shows up and ends up in the hospital, really badly burnt, with some great Kevin Yeager makeup, who worked on Freddy's makeup in a lot of the sequels. And he gets up and walks over to his neighboring patient's bed, opens the guy's mouth and spits out a big alien mouth turd into him.
Giant mouth turd.
Giant mouth turd. What this is it's an alien.
By the way, alien mouth turd, totally the name of my latest industrial side project. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I can't wait for that. Alien mouth turd coming soon to Sam Goody near you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he leaps from. Basically, this is an alien creature that can inhabit a human body. It's an incredibly selfish creature that just wants to experience all the hedonistic joys of being human without paying any of the consequences, for his choices. What he does is he uses the bodies that he's walking around in until they can't be used anymore, until he uses them up, then he moves into another one. And it's implicated that he's been doing this for a while on multiple planets. The investigation gets kind of crazy because a new FBI agent is in town. He's the guy from Twin Peaks, Kyle MacLachlan, again playing an FBI agent.
In fact, I think he transferred in from Twin Peaks.
Well, he certainly acts like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought.
I mean, actually, that was something I thought when I saw Twin Peaks for the first time, was Kyle MacLachlan was still playing that alien character, because he's so just kind of like, you just
it's perfect though, because there's one moment, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit, I'll come back, but there's one moment where he has a headache, so his partner gives him a glass of water and an Alka-Seltzer, and he starts biting into the Alka-Seltzer. He goes, "No, it's Alka-Seltzer. You put it in the glass and you drink it." So he does, and then later on, someone gives him a glass of water and an aspirin, and he doesn't know what to do with it, so he just throws it in the water. He's definitely playing the alien very well.
You can definitely see that he's having a great time playing that role.
Yeah. He's also an alien. We don't know if he's an alien from the same planet, although it seems to be the case because he seems to have a similar ability to inhabit others' bodies. The chase just goes from one person to the next, and it just escalates. Michael Nuri is the cop doing the investigation, and he's just getting incredibly frustrated because he knows something weird is going on, but he can't put his finger on it. And Kyle's not telling him anything.
I mean, let's face it, if you were to give away the fact that you are a alien masquerading as an FBI agent hunting another alien, I'm reasonably certain that Michael Nuri would have stun gunned him and then sent him off to a psych ward.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Sure.
At what point do they actually reveal that the FBI agent is an alien?
Well, it's hinted at throughout the entire movie. I mean, if you're an astute viewer, you can kind of pick up on it pretty quickly. But the actual,
I just thought he was, because I know him from Twin Peaks.
Okay.
I watched the entire movie and didn't realize he was an alien.
Well, I saw this opening day at the theater, and I remember knowing he was an alien as soon as he said he had stolen the car. Yeah, so
I just thought he was a smart ass FBI agent, like who was like totally awkward, like one of those people.
Probably the best scene in the movie is when they go back to his to Michael Nuri's house to have dinner with his family, and Kyle MacLachlan is trying to navigate how to eat, because you get the sense that he probably hasn't had to eat before, or not very often anyway. He seems very alien in his body. He doesn't know what to do with his hands.
I just thought he was weird.
His body language in here is actually kind of amazing, because it does have the feeling of somebody who's like, okay, I think I've got it, but I haven't really nailed down the fine tuning of motion yet. So, okay, let's just keep trying to
like
stuff.
Men in Black.
Oh,
in Men in Black, the alien that inhabits that dude's body, and like, he's like,
well, it doesn't seem like the alien has the total 100% ability to stay in a body as long as it wants, because it seems to be fighting to get out. through a couple of the moments where that second body it's in, the guy who has heart problems. There's several moments where the alien has to hold his arm because it's starting to pop out and wants to host. So I wonder if the actual creature, I wonder if the consciousness isn't a synthesis of the creature and whoever they took over, even though that person is dead.
Although at the same time, you think that the overriding like brain chemistry of whoever it is that you had in there would, and also I think that translates well into like the body language of everybody who's playing, who becomes, possessed by that alien.
Yeah, every person in the movie plays that character as one person or one entity.
Yeah.
So it's neat to see like Claudia Christian as the stripper playing it almost the same way that, the guy at the beginning was playing it. Kind of neat.
Yeah, it's like you're cast as the alien, not as the
person that you were playing.
The person that you're playing.
Although she's the first person in the movie that actually is playing the person before they get taken over.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of, so you could actually notice when she's doing it. The other people are just like, is it in him? Is it in it? But we know it's in her, and she has to actually show us the change, and that was pretty cool. Then it gets into a dog, and it just basically keeps going until it ends up inside someone who is running for president.
And that's not going to be problematic at all.
No.
Yeah. That reminded me of the end of The Omen, when the kid turns around and he's just been adopted by the president.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's not so subtle, I think, dig there at whoever was.
Yeah.
President. I think Reagan was president at the time. So
he was Ford, but I'm not sure.
It was 87. That would have been Reagan, right?
No, the original Omen, that was 77.
No, I'm talking about The Hidden is 87.
Oh yeah, that was definitely a dig at Reagan.
A dig at Reagan, yeah.
Still working on waking up here.
Yeah, that's okay.
You need a Mountain Dew, man. Here.
Oh, thanks, dude.
You got it.
So the cool scene where they have dinner and everything like that, there's a moment where they're tucking in their daughter, and the FBI agent comes in to say goodnight, and he just apparently, because his own family has been murdered by the other alien, we find out later, and there's just a moment where they're like looking at each other, and it's really weird. That comes back into play later at the very end when Michael Nouri is about to die, and we see Kyle MacLachlan give him his energy force. Now, there's a question there. Did he save his life, or is he now inhabiting his body so that his family doesn't have to know that he died?
From the look on the kid's face, and I think the kid understands the fact that, Kyle's character is not human. The kid totally gets it immediately.
Yeah, but decides to go with it.
Yeah.
Just to spare her mother.
Yep. And I mean, hey, wow. Okay, well, I guess my dad's an alien now. This will be
yeah. I mean, you get the sense that they're either the same species or a very similar species, but one is very selfish, and the other one is, like altruistic.
Well, one is an alien mouth turd, and the other one is a big set of flashing bright lights.
Yeah.
So,
but a very diversion of the same talent, I guess you should say. So
kind of like the Moon Man on Rick and Morty.
I can see that.
Have not seen that one, have I?
I don't know, but the whole thing features incredible David Bowie-esque music, like totally the voice and everything. They got somebody to do Bowie very well for that episode.
Bringing up the music.
Flashing fart cloud lights.
Oh yeah, bringing up the music. I just love that. I like what you mentioned, that he's got a blast heavy metal everywhere he goes. He's sitting in this restaurant. He's sitting in a family restaurant, like a George Webb, with his boombox, and he's got Concrete Blonde blaring.
Yeah, not even his boombox. He stole it.
I'm just loving. Then there's that whole scene where he just comes walking into the warehouse of the guy that he had killed and taken over, and there's weapons and guns and all the other things, and then he puts on some music, and it's this nice kind of shiny hat, and he smashes the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's Don Williams, I think.
yeah,
And boom, and anybody who was an MTV rocker and at the time probably would have had the same reaction. So I could see an applause happening in the audience.
I think the reason that we like this movie so much is that all of us were that alien back in the 80s.
oh yeah. So we're gonna sit there and like, all right, what music is playing? It's not metal. Well, go fuck it.
Yeah, like in Animal House when Belushi smashes that guitar for that guy.
The movie definitely on one hand sees him as the enemy and he's selfish and everything like that, but it also kind of is cheering him on a little bit because he's just like I don't know. There has to be a little bit of them saying, "Yeah, country music." Boom.
Country music used to actually make me violent because I hated it so much.
I don't hate the early country music. I hate today's country music and
I hate it all.
Anything from like 2000 on.
One of the reasons that I feel so bitter about having lived in Somerset, Texas, is the fact that
all the damn vampires.
Well, that too, but the fact that whenever I went shopping in the local S-Mart, they play really sappy, sad country music in there, and it was always packed because everyone in the whole town was in there at one time, and so I'd have to listen to country music the whole time. Well, I started becoming what's that word when kids play violent video games? And desensitized. I started becoming desensitized to country music, and I resented that. So I
want my hate to be fresh for this whole genre. Damn you.
Yeah. I mean, I would start to. I wasn't getting angry in my head because of the music. I was getting angry in my head because I was tolerating the music.
Oh, so actually, Dave, Doc Zodiac, and Matt Hadcat just did a big show about music. I actually watched it yesterday, and I was quite impressed. But there was
on
Prosperity on our fellow channel.
No. I was just about to give the full name.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is go ahead, Dave.
It's the Party for Prosperity and Supervillainy. You can find it on my channel on YouTube. You can also find it on the Mad Hat Cats channel on YouTube.
Yes.
I recommend it. We alternate between fairly serious conversations on the prosperity episodes and really goofy, silly conversations on the popcorn episodes.
Yeah.
And occasionally you get me.
Yeah, there's a little bit of bleed over from our channel.
I'm like a gashing wound. I'm like a wound. I bleed into your lives. It's like you think you've gotten away from me by going and watching the Party for Prosperity and Supervillainy, and there I am.
This son of a bitch again.
Yeah,
he's everywhere.
Anyway, I only brought it up because the music thing, and you guys kind of talked about how the Christian music that's on the radio always follows this very ridiculous template where no one's allowed to.
It's always got the same tempo element. It's always in this indeterminate, not quite major, not quite minor key. We don't want you to be sad, but we don't want you to be joyous either. Nobody really sounds like they're excited or into what they're doing. It is the tedium of music.
And the topic is always God is good. It's never anything. There are myriad things you could sing about with God relating to the Bible or God, and they only ever sing God is awesome or some variation of that.
I grew up in the 80s and, back in the days of hair metal and goth music, and we could break it up a little bit. We could sit around and sing about hot chicks and super fast cars, but we could also sing about how depressed we were and why there isn't nearly enough cocaine and how come I need more Aquanet.
Anyway, I brought that up because that's what I think a lot of country music is like, especially on the radio. There's good country music out there, but you don't hear it if you're listening to the radio.
I never hear good country music.
Eddie Rabbitt is great.
I'm gonna
Eddie
when
Rabbitt
John
is
comes
great.
down, I'm gonna put him in the Ludovico machine and make him listen to a couple of Steve Earle records, and he might change his
Steve
mind.
Earle's great. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Earle's the man.
Yeah. So it's just this very bland. If it's on the radio and it's country or Christian radio, it's just this very bland, middle of the road kind of thing. And this character doesn't won't tolerate anything like that. That's what I'm getting at.
Yep. I can't drive 55. That's his deal.
Yeah. Look, if I was going around as an alien and didn't have to worry about the consequences of what I was doing, I'd be stealing Ferraris all the time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that just a random, they don't know who the alien is in yet. It's in another body, and a guy has kind of disappeared, and then they hear a Ferrari's missing, and they, oh, that's him. He likes Ferrari.
Now just imagine for yourself, if you will, you going to another planet with the expressed intention of just fucking doing whatever you want, just being like the ultimate hedonist on another planet. I mean, what the hell? Wouldn't you be more interested in like their culture and learning about it than just going there and like fucking shit up?
He literally is doing what capitalism does, and he just goes, uses what he wants, leaves everybody else to pick up the mess.
Actually, that's a really good allegory.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he's doing, and then it's almost explicit because it ends with him trying to become the president.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a statement right there, but it's delivered with such comedy and craziness that it's,
I mean, okay, so I wouldn't go to other planets to wreak havoc and just do like George Webb night on Zarkon 5. I would, if I was going to do anything of the sort, I think the most I would do is probably collect data on the physical compatibilities of myself with them, and at least try to have sex with a dozen or so of them.
You're turning you always turn whatever we're watching into some variation out of that.
At the same time, though, I want to point out this is still one of my favorite Kevin Smith moments ever. One day, I want to travel to strange alien worlds, meet an alien,
and fuck it. Yeah.
And they'll be like, yeah, there goes homeboy. Dude fucked a Martian once.
When he gets into the stripper's body, still has to feel it up a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Wouldn't you? I mean, if you woke up tomorrow with a female body, wouldn't you just enjoy it for a while?
Is this her first movie? Because I think this is my first awareness of her when I saw this movie.
I think it was her first. She had been working as a model for a while, and this was really her first acting gig. And apparently, the story goes is her agent said, "I've got you an acting job, but you don't have any real lines in it, but you get to drive in a Ferrari and shoot machine guns." And she was like, "I'll be right there."
She has more lines than some of the other alien possessed people. She does say, "If you think this is over, you're wrong."
Yeah.
The first guy doesn't say shit.
No, he gets the shit shut out of him, and then he turns up in Twin Peaks later.
Oh, is he in Twin Peaks?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of seeing him in anything else, but I thought
like I said, this is part of the Twin Peaks universe.
That would actually make a lot of sense.
Apparently, Jack Shoulder. So the script was around, and it was going to be directed by somebody else, and then Jack Shoulder was offered it, and he did some of the rewrites that sort of played up the question of what it means to be human. So he sort of added a lot. I would assume because of that he must have been the one that added the scenes with Agent Cooper coming home with them, and
we don't know what the actual agent's name is,
but we do know the name of it.
He's just Agent Cooper. We get it.
We do know the name of the planet, though. It's Razal-Tak. What town are you from? Up north. Yeah, what town? Razal-Tak. Or Razal-Tak. Like, never heard of that.
There are some towns up in northern Quebec where that would actually be a perfectly reasonable one. I get it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was going to say that I think that is a town that's like 10 miles from Ontonagon, Michigan.
Yeah.
I love the movie so much. I saw it on opening day, and then I took Carrie to see it 2 days later. And it's always been this movie that no one's ever heard of that everybody should see because I mean, maybe it's not as great as the Terminator, but it's definitely got some Terminator vibes going on there.
Oh yeah.
But it's also got the buddy cop thing.
Well, if you have you ever watched Bright?
I know of it. I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
It's fucking awesome. I mean, so of course, you have a human and you have an orc who are buddy cops, and they're hunting down a Bright, which is like a fey creature that has magic. And there's like the country is divided up into like precincts where all the elves live in one area and it's all pristine and perfect, and the orcs live in another area, and then there's all these other fey creatures, and then there's humans. And the orc is the guy. He's the only orc cop, and so all of the other cops hate him. And it's basically
it's basically like Shadowrun universe.
It's basically Shadowrun.
Yeah.
So Dave, I'm surprised at you now. You haven't seen Bright, and
every time I have this thing going on right now where every time I'm like, I should sit down and watch this movie, and then something else happens. And like a week later, I should sit down and watch this movie, and then something happens.
No, there's stuff
sometime this week I should sit down and watch Bright.
Right. There's stuff that I enjoy when I watch it, but I don't feel the need to. I don't feel the pull to watch it very strongly. So like Game of Thrones, all the ones I've seen I liked, but I don't feel the pull to finish. I'm like, I've only seen like one season, so I just kind of have to be in the. There might be a day when I wake up and I'm like, oh, Bright sounds really good today, or maybe it's time to throw in Game of Thrones. But I'm not in the same frame of mind that a lot of other people are with Game of Thrones, where they're excited they can't wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was like that. And it's kind of funny. I think that the whole Game of Thrones genre slowed down so quickly after the final episode. Everybody kind of just was like,
and that's part of what's keeping me
totally walked away from it. It's like, you would think that something so momentous would still have momentum right now, but it was the final episode that just turned, everybody just walked away.
People reacted the same way after the last Sopranos. So,
well, don't tell me anything, because I literally just am getting to the end of the first season of The Sopranos.
Okay.
But I just want to point out, it was Kaiser Sose all along.
I don't even know who that is.
Wait, we were talking about a different movie, though.
We're talking about The Hidden.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, right.
I want to say, I say press pause. And the reason for that is because I think talking about the film was more fun than watching the film.
It's one of those films you get to dissect and just have a great time making fun of all the weirdness in it.
Yeah. I mean, the special effects, the practical effects were good, and makeup effects were good, and I found myself lingering on boredom during the film. So
there are some pacing issues.
Yeah, I found myself easily distracted while watching it. I just say, it's a good film. I say it's probably worth watching, but for myself, I say it's a press pause, just because I just couldn't get into it like you guys did, but I certainly enjoyed reviewing it.
Yeah. It's one of those films for me, though, that I sit down and watch knowing going in that this is a goofy 80s popcorn flick, and therefore I don't have to take it that seriously. I'm just basically waiting for the next time that Kyle MacLachlan does something funny, or the alien shoots the shit out of a whole bunch of stuff and we get another good action set piece, or somebody's going to fire a rocket launcher but get hit and then the rocket goes in the wrong direction, or any one of them, or Ferraris, or any one of 100 different things. But at the same time, it's one of those ones you put on the background and then look up over whatever it is you're doing going, oh, cool, and then watch it for a few minutes and then return to what you're doing.
Yeah.
I've loved this movie since it came out. I've had it on Laserdisc. Actually, John has it on Laserdisc, whether he
I
knows it or
might.
not, because I gave it to him.
I might.
I gave you my entire Laserdisc collection, and that was part of it. So you do own it.
Yeah, I've never gotten rid of a laser disc. They've always been in the same record case. So, you know, if it's there, I don't know it because I didn't watch it.
You do own it. There's a terrible sequel to this movie
Oh God,
called The Hidden Two, which went direct to video, which is not an action film. It's just, you know, it carries over the alien jumping bodies, but it's very low budget and shot
It's-
in basements.
apparently it ended the career of its director too. He never did a feature after that.
Really? So you know more about it than I do. What do we know?
It's crap. They tried to do a follow through on it. I've seen it in passing, but unlike the first film where I sit up there and look and go, "Oh, cool," the other time I'm like, "No, they still haven't done anything cool yet." Okay, that's about as much as I remember of that film.
I saw it once and I don't remember anything about it other than it was like really darkly lit and very poorly made.
Definitely going for that kind of like '90s Crow vibe and failing miserably.
Were they intentionally going for the Crow vibe? I don't know.
I think that was, you know, they're kind of going for that LA noir thing, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, it's terrible. I think that it did it. Now, when I watched it again, I've seen it several times because I did have it on Laserdisc. But watching it this time, I was a little less impressed with it than I was before. But I still think it's an unusual movie that a lot of people haven't seen that they should check out. It's kind of Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets the Terminator.
With Twin Peaks elements.
With Twin Peaks elements. Kyle MacLachlan is perfect.
Oh God, yeah.
Michael Nouri is good. You know, he's got a whole. He's basically has to carry the entire movie because Kyle MacLachlan's not giving him anything. In a good way, you know, he's not supposed to.
Yeah.
And I like the set pieces. I like the action. I like the humor. I like the human element at the end with, you know, like that final moment is a huge question mark.
Yeah.
Where she takes the hand of the surrogate father at the end. I just think the whole thing works. Some of it feels a little dated. Some of the music is a little. I still like it, but it is very 80s. I love how colorful it is.
Yeah, it's definitely got that kind of muted MTV color palette going on.
It's green.
It's not as bright.
There's a lot of green in the movie. Loved it. Would watch it again. Don't love it as much as I originally did. Actually, I've always loved The Lost Boys, but watching it again last week made me really appreciate it. Like I've been digging into it a lot deeper.
And I want to mention that, you know, I appreciate the links that you've been posting. I've been watching all that stuff because I can't get enough Lost Boys. And I can't get enough Lost Boys lore. You know, it's just that movie keeps getting better every time I see it.
Yeah. This movie doesn't get better every time I see it, but it always has, it always retains the things that made me interested in it. So it's a good film, and I think everybody should check it out, especially if you've never seen it before. It's like a little discovery. So press play.